Hey boys and girls, Mr. Beard here with your class recap for Thursday and Wednesday, January 25th and 26th. On Wednesday, we started with SSR. If students were not finished reading The Outcast of Poker Flat, that is what they worked on instead. Then, we had some discussion questions. First question, what did Oakhurst, the gambler, do that was so bad? We said he gambled, but it wasn't really that he was a gambler that got them kicked out. It wasn't a moral issue, as in gambling is bad, so we can't have it in our town. No. The reason they kicked Oakhurst out was because he was winning all their money. They were willing to gamble as long as they didn't lose, which is very hypocritical. The next question, who were the Duchess and Mother Shipton? The answer is simple. They were prostitutes. They were kicked out for prostitution. Which led us to this. Are gambling and prostitution victimless crimes? Many students argued quite well that the townspeople were actually hypocrites because they were the ones putting these people in business and at the same time acting like they were better than them by kicking them out in a moral stance. Next question, who is Tom Simpson and why is he called the Innocent? He was called the Innocent, quite frankly, because he was very naive and very innocent. He was a gambler, but he was a very bad gambler. Which leads us to why he idolizes Oakhurst. Oakhurst beat him in a round of cards, but took pity on him and said, look, Tom, you are not very good at this. You should choose a new line of work. And he gave him back his money, which obviously Tom Simpson was very impressed by. Uncle Billy is kind of a vicious, mean, disgusting character. He's drunk and he's very mean-spirited, and what makes him laugh so hard is this maniacal thought that comes into his head, which is that he's going to steal all of the outcast supplies and leave them stranded, knowing that could kill them. And what sacrifice does Mother Shipton commit? For being a prostitute and being someone who is a moral blight or sore spot or evil on the town, because the townspeople kicked her out for being morally corrupt and morally evil because she was a prostitute. She turns out to be one of the most kind-hearted of all the characters in the story. She sacrifices her food rations for this young girl so that she may live, knowing that Mother Shipton knew that she would probably die if she gave up those rations, but she did so anyway, which shows she's actually a very kind-hearted character. After finishing the discussion questions, on Thursday, I was not in the classroom. We had professional development meetings all day that were actually very beneficial, but because I was not in the classroom, we went ahead and watched an episode of How the States Got Their Shapes, which focused on regional accents. This video perfectly illustrates what we've been talking about up to this point with regionalism and the differences in dialect, such as in Poker Flat or Outcasts of Poker Flat, where you see this great example of how people spoke in California in the 1850s and why they spoke that way.
Rather than state borders, and they got some pretty interesting shapes. The center of our country might have the reputation for being a little plain, but it's rich with accents. There's the north, where they show just how far you can stretch an O.
Well, we're from Minnesota, don't you know that?
Vowels are a bit flatter in an area called the Midland.
We're about 40 miles southwest of Peoria.
So you get a really good idea of different regional dialects and the differences in those regions, which these regionalist writers that we've been reading really tried to capture in their writing. We'll talk some more about that tomorrow, but that's all for today. Thanks for listening and have a great afternoon.